Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to All Things Division 3 Soccer with Simple Coach and Jackie. I am Simple Coach. Yep, Jackie snoozing away. Exciting morning, 6 a.m. Coffee, watching Spain look as awesome as ever, winning the Women's World Cup. So you could see the hat, the lights. That's supposed to be yellow. So, happy household. Just a few things I wanted to throw this up there. Almost do a live. I thought about doing this live, but I can't get the technology down well. And I don't know. I'm doing live by myself. It's kind of odd. But I just wanted to put this out there. If you haven't noticed, most D3s, excluding the NESCACs, because the NESCACs are the NESCACs, have been reporting late last week, Thursday, Friday maybe, and maybe over the weekend. But most are probably, beginning those grueling two-a-days, the 10 a.m., 6 p.m. starts. I am sure soreness will start creeping in. I am sure there's going to be a bit of boredom too. You're too tired to do anything, and you got all this time to kill between sessions. But it is definitely exciting for geeks like me who are looking forward to the first kick in, September 1st, 2nd, 3rd. It's going to be pretty cool. I did get a chance to, and I know I've mentioned it before, Simple Player number 3. Dropped him off. It's really, really great to see him becoming the young man he's becoming. And yeah, we'll see how he does. Hopefully he makes the team. And but more importantly, I just hope he enjoys the school and academics, makes good friends, becomes the rocket scientist he aspires to be. So, I did want to throw this out there in large part because because I'm having to think ahead about this stuff. I did want to. Been looking at schedules, some of the games, and I think most of the first. I think there's a few earlier ones, but most of the games are, opening weekend is, Labor Day weekend. So, September 1st, which is Friday, September 2nd, and then the day of days, what will be the 35th anniversary of my 20th birthday on the 3rd. So, but I did want to highlight some games. These are not my picks yet. I'm going to do another show later on where I'm going to just talk about maybe a few games and the ones that I'm going to consider my games of the week. But I did, and I'm still going through them. There's a lot of games. I'm trying to get through them. But the ones, let's talk on the women's side. There are a number of games that are sort of popped into my head. And I'm just going to list. I'm not going to talk much about them just because there's going to be a lot to be said right now, and trying to cull through whatever information is available to figure out what games are going to be critical. But on September 1st, I got 3 games that really sort of have piqued my interest already. The first one, Messiah, takes on Puget Sound at Messiah. That could be interesting. I wonder if I could get to that. Like, that would be a worthwhile trip. The second game, which is a Pennsylvania battle, Susquehanna, that had a great season last year against Misericordia, who also had a fantastic season. And then finally out west, Pacific Lutheran versus Cal Lutheran. That is the John Luther or Martin Luther Praying Hands Cup, I think. Anyhow, those three games on the first look really interesting and look to be pretty competitive. On the second, I got two, Smith College of Hobart and Smith, and TCNJ, who new coach, who I think is, might be looking to return to the days of Joe Russo when he was there. And then the next game, which is another interesting game, Stevens will travel to Messiah. So I think I see, Messiah on Friday and then Messiah on Saturday. So who knows how fitness and soreness and all that kind of stuff will play in, but those should be some good games. On the third, after we've done blowing out candles and eating cake, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 games that I will be watching. Hopefully none of these, let me just check, because these might be the pay-per-view conference, formerly known as the Landmark Conference. So I just want to check. No, I think because Susquehanna is at Misericordia. So, I think we should be good here. But anyhow, so September 3rd, I don't know. Maybe this might be iffy because of pay-per-view conferences now, pay-per-view. Johns Hopkins versus Scranton. And both teams excellent. Obviously, Johns Hopkins, the national champs. But I'm also interested to see how they are this year. I had a number of grad students and seniors, so I'm curious to see how that game goes for them. And Scranton is just outstanding every year. Next one, runners up last year, Case Western at Ohio Northern. Ohio Northern, OAC perennial beasts of the conference. So that'll be interesting. This one popped up, and I'm not sure if it's. I think it's going to be a good game. I don't know. Hartford goes to Montclair State. Montclair, I think, was somewhere in the 40 range, 30 range of rankings, but Hartford is going to be their first year Division III. Last year they were Division I, so I'm more curious to see how Hartford does. I think that's going to be an interesting transition to watch. All I know about Hartford is that I have a hat. The next game, Trinity, Texas versus Pomona Pitzer. That should be a good West Coast battle. Another TCNJ game day after they play Smith. TCNJ versus Haverford. That should be a pretty competitive game. And going all the way out west, the UC Santa Cruz Banana Slugs. Just wanted to say that. Versus Claremont Mud Scripts. I think two West Coast powerhouses. So, and then lastly, I got Hardin Simmons versus Wisconsin Whitewater. So, if I'm looking right now, I'll have to choose, and I'll do one later where I'll do, which one's, the game of the week for the women and a game of the week for the men. We'll see how it goes. On the men's side, I sort of stole some stuff from a bunch of different people on the D3 boards on D3 soccer, which is kind of there but not. And so there are some outstanding games some outstanding games. So Here we go. First up, national champion Chicago versus St. Olaf. Both with new coaches, both super talented teams. So that's going to be a must watch. NYU goes to Montclair State. Montclair had another 9, 7 days of extra training because they were able to travel to Deutschland, to Germany, for some training and some games. So they might have a leg up. And then NYU, which is every year is ranked highly, so and performs really well. So really curious about that one. Another one I'm really curious about is Kenyon at Ohio Northern. Both outstanding teams. Kenyon with new coach Travis Wall. So that's going to be interesting to see. Next up, I have Cortland. One of the top 20 teams at University of Paywall. So unfortunately, it's at University of Paywall, so I will have no idea how they do. Game of quite possibly personal interest, RPI at Mary Washington, although I am very intrigued by Mary Washington to see do they have legs to continue their fantastic build on their semifinal run in the NCAA's last year. Another Ohio battle. Boy, I'm in Ohio a lot these days. Case Western at Otterbein. Two teams that are like on the cusp. Otterbein, fantastic over the last couple of years. Do they still have the legs, and have they brought in new talent? And then Case Western getting, another UAA powerhouse, and look to Carter Poe to keep adding and keep building Case. I got Pac Lutheran travels to Colorado College. That should be an interesting one. See how Pacific Lutheran can keep making statements, make an early statement. I don't know if they're mile high, but I bet you Colorado College is pretty darn close to a mile high. So that'll be interesting. This is going to be a real tough one to be watching. Roanoke travels to Denison, which, good question. I'm not sure where they're going to play because they're redoing their stadium, if you haven't seen pictures posted somewhere. I got Vassar, who, I think surprised everyone last year. Coach Hood doing a remarkable job against who I think was robbed last year, Western Connecticut, at Western Connecticut. So, and lastly, on Friday the 1st, Texas Lutheran at Occidental. Battle of Texans. So we'll see there. Saturday the 2nd. I mean, these are some humdingers. Messiah travels to the regional powerhouse Catholic and plays at Carlini Field. Very interested to see that. Got Stevens travels to Franklin and Marshall. I mean, talk about, hey, let's open a season like that. That's going to be good. A Battle of Virginia next. Lynchburg at Christopher Newport. And if I recall, I don't think they like each other, but I'm not trying to foment anything, but I thought that was the case. I'm not sure that they like each other. Another great one, and two outstanding teams, Ohio Wesleyan at Calvin. I think they always do this. They play Calvin and Hope. Yeah, I think a week later they might play Hope. I can't remember, but just that'll be a test of will, right? Who wins that game, and then super talented Washington and Lee against a resurgent Emory. It's going to make for a pretty interesting Saturday, and then Sunday, after we've blown out the candles and eaten more cake. Got Chicago plays Gustavus Adolphus. Holy cannoli. I have Johns Hopkins down at Mary Washington. I mean, that right there that's probably going to be like, I don't know what would be a good, Spain playing Holland. I don't know. That's the first one that comes to mind. Got John Carroll at Kenyon. Wow. I mean, that's definitely, if I could get out there, that would be a fun one to watch. Hey, and two teams that battle every year. Fantastic coaches. Love these guys. And they also play great soccer. Cortland State plays... goes to St. Lawrence, and I'll be interested to see where their teams stand after that one. I have St. Thomas, Texas v. Willamette. I have the Coast Guard travels to Swarthmore. Next one, a battle in Massachusetts that really intrigues me. WPI at Massachusetts Boston. I know every year they kind of do battle against each other. This is the men's version of the Martin Luther Praying Hands Cup. Actually, the Praying Hands is, I think it's John Calvin. I can't remember. But anyhow, the Praying Hands. You always see the Praying Hands. Well, whatever. I'm ranting. But Texas Lutheran, Cal Lutheran. All right. So the women play on the 1st, and then the men play on the 3rd. Another two great programs. Really interested in seeing. Rutgers Newark takes on E-Town. Looking to see where those guys stand to start the season. And then lastly, my last game, which sadly no one will be able to watch because it's the pay-per-view conference. Misericordia is at Lycoming because Lycoming and Wilkes are new to the pay-per-view conference. And as I'm looking at it, the other game that it could be like the greatest Division III game ever, and maybe only like 15 people will watch it, all parents. Is Messiah at Catholic, because obviously Catholic 2 years ago won the pay-per-view conference when it was known as the Landmark Conference. So those are the games I'm keeping an eye out for. Any suggestions, feel free. I'm just running down games, so any, like I said, down below, check suggestions. You could email me. Throw it up on the boards. That'll work as well. Lastly, and I know this is not Division III, but hey, what the heck? I've been known to go off the reservation. Spain, World Cup champions. Now, watching the game, and because I had the U.S. women's game. Injured time sessions that I did Please, it's pretty obvious, right? Like, you watch a game, and England I didn't think was good at all today. As in the first 45 minutes, I thought they looked just really bad. I don't know, whatever the reasons are. Tactically, they just were not in the game. I thought Spain just moved around them at will. The U.S. women the national team, it is pretty clear that there is a technical and tactical deficit between what I see in the States, the national team, and what you see coming out of Spain and England, and by a lot, I think, by a lot. And I'll just tell you one anecdote. Club where simple players play. It's a women's soccer club. It's not a boys soccer club. I mean, they're known for their women, right? The women players. You can go up there and you can watch them train, and they train whatever, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And on any given day, you can see girls doing all of this. I know this is going to be speed and agility training for like an hour. Pushing sleds and rolling big truck tires, that sort of thing, right? That type of workout. Now, I think if we thought we knew what was good for us and for the future of the women's game, instead of doing that, maybe devote it to just a technical session where it's all about how do you deal with the ball. Maybe not even situationally, like you don't have to make it too complex. Hey, we're gonna do passing. Hey, we're gonna do trapping. Hey, we're gonna do that sort of thing. I know, kind of crazy. Lastly, to talk about England, I thought they had a great run. I just think for whatever reason today was not good. Maybe it was just Spain's year. I thought if England scores, that might be a different story. I also think that if Spain scores on the penalty kick, that might have been the worst thing for Spain, because it would have 2 goals down. They would have relaxed a little bit, and then England could have just sort of come out and just be like reckless abandon and get a goal, and then all the momentum shifts, and you've seen it before. But I determined, so I watched that game, and then I watched another game, and I will just say, my heart goes out. My heart goes out. I'll light a candle for you if that helps you get through your day. But I've determined what is possibly today the worst fan to be today from an emotional standpoint, like how upset you must be today. If you're a women's national team fan, hurts, loss. You got some strength though there, Euros, right? There's this record of success. But if you add into that you're also an Everton fan, oh my gosh. Prayers, thoughts, all that kind of stuff out to you, because what was that performance against Villa? I have no idea. When Jordan Pickford doesn't even bother yelling at people, you know there's a problem. So anyhow, thanks again for tuning in. Emails, comments, all that kind of stuff. Girl, you got anything to say? No? Okay. No, nothing to say. All right. Have a great Sunday.